Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by? Look and see. Watch and pray. May I speak in the name of the one who humbled himself even to death on a cross. Amen. As we journey through Holy Week, seeking to walk in the footsteps of Jesus, we're drawn into a fast-moving drama, a sequence of intense scenes and heightened emotions, drawn into the world of fickle crowds who turn one way and then another, singing hallelujahs to the King and then baying for a brutal death by torture as they cry out, "Crucify, crucify." We're drawn into a world of personal betrayal by Judas, but also by Peter, and into a world of terrifying abuse, physical and verbal, drawn into that familiar journey of dehumanization, those processes that seek to render a person less human, to make it easier to snuff out their life. It's the journey of a human person, of a body that experiences and is subjected to physical pain, but also of a person that suffers, that anticipates, fears, dreads what is to come, that suffers cruelty, indignities, shame, injustice, suffers by witnessing the inhumanity meted out to others, suffers as they watch humanity twisted out of shape through violence and cruelty. And in that suffering asks, why? Why are you doing this? And also, how? How are you capable of engaging in such shameless brutality? To do this to another, to a sister or brother, to a person, a body made like you, like me, in the image of God. One of the books traditionally read in Holy Week is the Book of Lamentations, a series of poems by anonymous authors witnessing to the desertion and destruction of the city of Jerusalem 586 years before Christ's birth. And in its words, we hear the grieving soul of individual humanity crying out in the midst of one of the defining, dramatic moments of Jewish history, of the destruction of the city of Jerusalem and the temple, of exile into Babylon. We hear the cry of the abandoned widow sitting in the rubble, calling out to those running fearfully and hurriedly past to stop, to stop, to look, to see, to attend to her loss, to bear witness to her grief, to pay attention to the inner world of feeling and memories, to her sense of belonging that has been ripped from her as the buildings in which she sits have been ripped apart, leaving the pipes and wires torn and exposed. Now is a time for action, for intervention, for strenuous effort, support and help for those in Ukraine and those forced into exile. But it's also a time when we're invited to sit, to watch and pray in the Garden of Gethsemane, to watch and pray at the foot of the cross, with the loss and grief of others, acknowledging the huge gulf in our personal experience, but to stop and express our solidarity with those most directly affected, to sit with the slow tears of sorrow, of lament, of pain endured, as well as the hot, wet tears of anger and frustration and despair. To know that traumatic loss and sudden death are profound interruptions, ruptures, that for those who have suffered so much, those who have witnessed terrible evil and appalling humanity, that time is and will be needed. That the deep wounds of grief, suffering and isolation, the pain of physical parting and death need to be attended to. It is the wound and not the bandage, not passed by. To know that loss cannot be cured, but rather needs to be integrated and honestly lived with, but in time. And that if lives and communities and cities are in time to be rebuilt, hope is, of course, crucial. Hope is the mortar of renewal in the lives of communities and individuals. But that loving attention, stopping, listening, and bearing witness to those connections between person and place, bearing witness to the desolated cities of the heart, to the remembered landscapes, to the yearning and ache for the familiar and secure, is a crucial part of that journey. It is not nothing. Look and see. Amen.